The silence in our living room that night felt heavier than any argument we'd ever had. It wasn't the kind of silence that comes after a fight. It was the kind that comes after truth finally slips through the cracks you've been pretending don't exist. "Ryan," she sighed, rubbing her temples. "You're overreacting again." I stared at her. At the woman I'd spent 12 years building a life with. The woman whose laughter used to be the only sound I wanted to wake up to. But now, even her voice carried the weight of every lie I didn't want to believe. "Good," I said, my tone cold, deliberate. "Because I sold the house yesterday." Her eyes froze. The faint color drained from her cheeks. For a moment, she didn't even blink. "You what?" I took a slow breath, forcing the words out evenly, though my chest burned. "I sold it. The papers are signed. It's not ours anymore." She just stood there, still silent, staring at me like I just ripped the floor from beneath her feet. 3 months earlier. The first sign was small. A late night at the office. A phone that suddenly never left her side. A new password on her laptop. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. That's what she always accused me of. Overthinking, being too sensitive. But I couldn't ignore the shift. Emily had grown distant. Polite, even kind, but detached. Her hugs felt rehearsed. Her "I love you's" came at the wrong moments, like words she'd remembered to say rather than felt. One night I went to surprise her at work. Just a quick dinner drop-off. The receptionist gave me a puzzled look. "She left an hour ago," she said. I smiled, pretending I knew. Pretending it wasn't a dagger in my chest. When Emily came home later, I asked her how work went. She smiled and kissed me on the cheek, her perfume smelling like someone else's cologne. That was when the first fracture became too deep to ignore. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to be sure. I told myself it was about fairness, that I needed proof before I accused her. But deep down I think I was stalling. Because proof meant finality. So I waited. I watched. And in my waiting, I discovered a truth worse than betrayal itself. The quiet, smiling deception of someone you thought you knew better than yourself. She started spending weekends, helping her friend with a project. I followed her once. I shouldn't have, but love makes you do pathetic, painful things. She didn't drive to her friend's place. She drove to a small cabin near the lake. A place I didn't even know she knew existed. I parked far enough not to be seen and watched her knock on the door. A man opened it. Tall, dark hair, wearing that relaxed smile of someone who didn't have to hide. And when she kissed him, not hurriedly or guiltily, but softly like she'd done it 100 times, the world tilted. I didn't scream. I didn't break down. I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my hands went numb. The sound of my heartbeat louder than the crickets outside. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay beside her, her head resting on my shoulder as if nothing had changed. She smelled faintly of lake water and cologne. I wanted to ask her why. I wanted her to confess. But she didn't. She talked about her day, laughed softly, and drifted to sleep, like the woman she used to be was still there, hiding behind the one who lied. So I decided to let her keep pretending. But I also started planning. The slow unraveling. Over the next few weeks, I became a ghost in my own home. I smiled when I had to, nodded when she spoke, kissed her forehead goodnight, and all the while I built my exit. I met with a real estate agent. The market was hot. Our house, the house we built together, could sell fast. Emily didn't notice when I started packing the attic, claiming I was cleaning up. She didn't notice the missing photo albums or the old souvenirs disappearing from the shelves. Because guilt makes you blind and love, or the illusion of it, makes you comfortable. One evening I found her phone on the counter, unlocked. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The messages weren't explicit. Not the kind of affair you could expose easily. They were worse. They were intimate. They were emotional. They were real. "I wish I could just be with you without all this pretending. He's a good man, but I feel trapped. You make me feel alive again." Each line cut deeper than the last. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was rewriting our love story, erasing me from it entirely. I didn't confront her that night. Or the night after. Instead, I signed the final sale documents. I closed the account we shared, transferred my portion into a new one. I even found a small apartment across town. Nothing special but quiet. When I moved my things out, I left the furniture, the decorations, everything that held the ghost of us. I wanted her to see it all empty when it finally hit her. Because that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't hurt when you catch them. It hurts when they realize what they've lost, and you're not there to watch it. Back to that night. Ryan, you can't just sell the house without telling me, she snapped, panic breaking through her practiced calm. I can, I said quietly. My name's on it too. You were too busy working late to notice the agent coming by. Her jaw tightened. This is insane. You're acting crazy. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that didn't feel like me. Crazy. You mean like when I drove out to the lake last month and saw you kissing him? The silence that followed was deafening. She blinked once. Her lips parted, but no words came. She stammered. It wasn't Ryan, it's not what you think. It never is, I said. Until it's exactly that. She stepped forward, tears welling in her eyes. Please. It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to. Don't, I cut her off. Don't insult me by calling it a mistake. You don't accidentally lie for months, Emily. You choose to. For the first time in weeks, I saw the truth flash across her face. Not guilt, not sorrow, but fear. What about us? She whispered. There is no us, I said, my voice steady. There's just you, and whatever version of me you needed to make your guilt feel smaller. She started crying then. Real, heavy sobs that shook her shoulders. Maybe it was remorse. Maybe it was just the shock of realizing I was gone before she could say sorry. I picked up my bag from the couch. The papers are on the counter, I said. The money's split. The house is gone. So am I. Please, she choked out, stepping toward me. We can fix this. I'll end it. I turned back once, just long enough to meet her eyes. You already did. And then I left. 3 weeks later. The apartment was quiet, smaller, lonelier, but it was mine. Some nights, I caught myself staring at the empty chair across from me, expecting her to walk in. Old habits die hard. Love doesn't vanish. It just fades into memory, piece by painful piece. One morning I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Her handwriting on the front. I didn't open it. Because some things, once broken, aren't meant to be read, fixed, or forgiven. I set it down on the counter, poured myself a coffee, and watched the sunlight spill through the window. And for the first time in a long time I felt free.